Okay, is everybody ready? Yes. Welcome to my world.
Do you want to share? For now? You don't mind? No. Can we get rid of that?
Okay, good to go.
So,
Everybody's good, you ready? All right, it is 7:04, I will call the meeting to order. First point on the agenda is questions or comments from the floor. We ask that you limit these to 5 minutes, if there are any.
We have Chris, then Kathy, then Angela.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Chris Fadda. I'm here to talk about policy again. So first of all, I want to thank you. You know, I know that this is a tough job. Dr. Fitzgerald, thank you. You know, this is not personal. I just am advocating for my son and trying to make sure that this is, a fair process for my son as well. So I know Dr. Fitzgerald and I disagree on the class ranking. If I understand correctly, his belief is that the P-TECH students should not be involved in the class ranking. And my belief is, if you read the policy and follow it as written, he does, and other P-TECH students should be involved in the class ranking. There was a question on enrollment. I know Dr. Fitzgerald is saying that the kids in P-TECH are not enrolled in Canajoharie. However, I will say it again, they are enrolled in Canajoharie. They get a Canajoharie diploma. Any IEP 504s, your CSE follows up on those. They're responsible for those. Any Regents classes, falls under the jurisdiction of CanJo. Sports, transportation. I don't want to sound belittling, but if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, lays eggs like a duck, it's a duck, right? So he is enrolled in Canajoharie, especially with a Canajoharie diploma. Do P-TECH students count in the policy? I know there was some debate that, it doesn't say Canajoharie, that it doesn't say that P-TECH students should be included in the class rank, but it is in the policy. For example, students should select the most academically challenging courses, which falls under P-TECH. Consistently works the personal best, measured by grades. P-TECH. Take the maximum number of available courses. That's P-TECH. I know that we talked about, it doesn't say P-TECH. Well, it doesn't say New Visions. It says CTE. I'm going to pass you out a website. I'm going to pass you, it's the New York State website. In order to apply for a grant and for P-TECH to be approved, it's considered a CTE program under the STEM pathway. I know we talked about pathways last time, or that was brought up. There are several pathways to graduation. There's the arts pathway. Again, this is taken right from the New York State website. Arts pathway, world language pathway, CTE pathway, which falls under P-TECH, career development, occupational, or CDOS, humanities pathway, and STEM pathway, which also falls under P-TECH. This is included as a pathway, so it does count, as also mentioned in the board policy. It says right here that Regents General Career Tech Education. There was also a question about how do you convert or calibrate the scores from P-TECH here. It says it right here in the policy. You just do it the way you would do any other college course, any other CTE course. It is an easy, I don't want to say conversion, but it's easy to do. You just follow what's written down. There was also another question. I think Dr. Brody said we have to change the policy to include P-TECH. You do not have to change the policy. You have to follow the policy. If you look at it word by word and verbatim, it includes P-TECH students. It includes P-TECH students. There's also a question about, valedictorian and salutatorian. A student must have been enrolled. I mean, at this point, we're not talking about valedictorian. We're not talking about salutatorian. We're talking about class rank. So I really am appealing to you to, you're all intelligent people, vote your conscience, vote what's right for kids, and vote for what's going to help kids. I mean, I'm struggling with why you would want to exclude opportunities from Canajoharie students. All right, that's it. So listen, I'm going to pass out the information that I'm referring to. You all have it. I've passed it out before. But again, it's just a matter of looking at everything, So I've got the website that explains how you even get a grant for P-TECH. It doesn't really explain it, but it says that that P-TECH's got to be like a CTE approved, and it also falls under STEM. I also have the pathways to graduation, right? Again, New York State website. And I also have your policy, which I know you've looked at, but if you look at it and read it, it includes pathway students. It doesn't say pathway students, but it also doesn't say welding. It also doesn't say it doesn't say new visions. It doesn't say particular programs, right? But it does include P-TECH. So I urge you to look at that and really, help us out and do the right thing. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay, you have another one?
Kathy,
Kathy?
Hi, I'm Kathy Fata. I'm standing here before you tonight as a taxpayer, a mother, a member of the Canajoharie community. After phone calls, emails, letters, and meetings, we find ourselves at yet again another board meeting appealing to the board to do the right thing. We know that you don't have to do anything, as has been stated numerous times before, but you could, and most importantly, you should. You should follow a policy that does not exclude students from a particular pathway. You should follow the policy that the board has adopted. You should provide every single student with a sense of inclusiveness and belonging. You should acknowledge taxpayers' children who are part of the state-reported data for Regents examinations, graduation, and dropout statistics, the same opportunities afforded to all the other members of our student body. You should follow the mission statement, which reads, quote, "Every day in our school district, we foster a relationship-based safe learning environment. We provide access for all students to fully participate in an educational process that incorporates skill development and academic achievement with classroom interests, talents, passions, and activities. We educate the whole child so that they can become self-aware, critical thinkers who are culturally and socially conscious adults," end quotations. Most importantly, you should never refer to students as others with repeated statements such as, quote, "They aren't our students and we don't have to include them in activities, we do it to be nice," end quotations. Most importantly, our son is a Canajoharie student. He lives in the community, attended school in the community, volunteers in our community, and proudly attends Canajoharie functions. He doesn't commute. He isn't an out-of-district resident. He lives here. He belongs here. He is not an other, and he is not an outlier. He is a 17-year-old young man who has persevered through the perils of COVID to complete his required high school coursework and 2 years of coursework at FMCC. He is a member of the National Honor Society and Pi Theta Kappa Honor Society as well. Most schools would elevate such an achievement, not admonish it. Our son was promised a pathway with total inclusion in an effort to attract strong academic students into P-TECH. This was a gentleman's agreement, and our current class ranking policy does not exclude him or others. The fact that this policy is not being followed, but rather left to the interpretation of the board when there is not a clear understanding of all the academic pathways, the rigor, and what those pathways entail, is a bit disconcerting. This shows a lack of interest in the well-being of all students in the district. Our district has pumped hundreds of thousands of dollars dedicated to the social emotional well-being of our student body. Referring to students as others and telling them that they don't belong to a community that they live, work, volunteer, and have attended school in is hurtful and damaging. Social alienation of students is damaging. To hear leaders of your district claim that you don't belong after you spent your pre-K, elementary, and middle school years full-time in a district, rode on a Canajoharie school bus to and from P-TECH every day for 3.5 years, transported Canajoharie Regents exam answer sheets to the P-TECH facility, and completed 2 ninth grade Regents exams at Canajoharie Middle School is hurtful. Angelo has maximized the number of courses from the start of his 9th grade year with the goal of graduating with his cohort to acquire a class rank. We urge you to honor the current class rankings policy, actually follow the policy, and your mission statement to support every student and the whole child and not have it just be a flippant catchphrase. Thank you.
name is Angelo Fata. I'm appealing to you for a Canajoharie class rank. I'm hoping that you will help validate my hard work as a Canajoharie student. I attended P-TECH because I was motivated to do the best I could, possibly academically. And I was told that I would be afforded all the same opportunities as other Canajoharie students. I was told that I belonged as a Canajoharie student and I was representing Canajoharie as an ambassador at P-TECH. Not only to be denied, that's not fair. You have a chance to make things fair. If you had a son or a daughter, I know you will want this opportunity for your child. Dr. Fitzgerald, I know you are here to help kids, help me. Dr. Brody, I know you support hard work and root for the underdog. Please root for me. Mrs. Mika, I've gone to school with your son, and I know you would want your son to have a class rank. I want one too. And Mrs. Fields, I know you've supported kids at your home as a coach and in your position as an English teacher. Please help me, or please follow through with helping me. Mrs. Prime, your son coached me and helped me in soccer when I was young. Please let him know that you helped me too. All of you, please help me feel as if I belong. Allow me to have a Canajoharie class rank. I feel that all of you should know that this class rank affects whether or not I get a class rank affects me massively as I am furthering my education, and I will not be eligible for other state-related scholarships such as a STEM scholarship if I do not receive a fair class ranking. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Next point on the agenda is presentations, and I would like to welcome the computer science internship people to tell us all about what they do. So thank you for being here, and we appreciate it.
Do you need the HDMI? Yeah. We're good.
Mess up your system.
the plan.
No.
Okay, so I'd like to thank you all for having us and you all for coming. And so we're computer science internship. So I'm David Rothrock.
I'm Autumn Artolini.
I'm Sam Robinson. And I'm Zach Boyer.
So this is how CSI helps our school, and this is what we've been up to.
So how we started, in 2009, we had a man come to our school from a company called Gen Yes, which is based out of Seattle, Washington. He came and talked to our current principal at the time in starting a Gen Yes curriculum. The principal at the time called Miss Jones down and asked if she was willing to take on the task, and she agreed, saying it sounded like an AV club on steroids. So in 2012, our students realized they were doing all this work, helping out the school and with their technology and everything. We grew into a pass or fail volunteer course. And then again, in 2015, we received 1 credit upon the completion of the course. And then in 2019, we finally added the full 4-year course with a graduation in computer science. So the computer science internship pathway. So every year, the requirements to pass the CSI pathway for a freshman at the end of the year are, you need to have your Gen Yes Help Desk certification, which consists of 100 taps, 10 teachers help, 15 team taps, and 25 hours of tap support. You need to teach at least 1 lesson. You need your weekly work logs. You need community service. You need a Google Site portfolio. You need a final project. You need to design a Maker Faire booth or presentation. And each quarter we get evaluated on our conduct and customer service and our self-direction and independence. And then the requirements for your sophomore year are the freshman requirements, along with 4 technology research projects in 4 different formats. So if you did a Google Slides for the first one, you cannot do that for the other 3. You need a project proposal and you need to add to your portfolio. In your junior year, you get a comprehensive independent project, workplace visits, and you add more to your portfolio. And then finally, in your senior year in the CSI pathway, you get internships at local businesses, college-level coding courses, and you add the finishing touches to your portfolio.
Okay, what is a TAP? A TAP is a technology assistance project, which means we help teachers with their technology in our school. We mentor, which is helping teachers teach their students with different things. We have technology support, which means we help the teachers and we help the students with their Chromebooks or any other device. And content creation, which is we create our own like lessons and stuff. Like Connor is creating his own whole entire curriculum for a class. And we have community service, which right there is like a project that I'm doing for my end of the year project. I'm raising money for Liberty ARC.
I'm sorry, for raising money for,
Liberty ARC.
okay.
So for the week, we usually have a little work log for planning the week so we know what's going to happen for the next week on. Like if we didn't have this, we wouldn't know what to do and we'd have to ask the teacher. But if they're really into something important, we can have this to show what we have to work on without having to get told by a teacher. So we fill one out every day so we know what we did and what we're going to do for the next day. So we can get planned as soon as we walk into the door, we have what we have. And it can tell us what goals we can have for next week. So if we wanted to get something done before the weekend, we would have it. So competitive esports is a final project that I wanted to do. It helps me learn how to game and help other people learn how to get their gaming skills better. It could help you with getting better at gaming the level you didn't know could happen in 1 year for yourself. And it could show what
you can do outside of school while you're inside of school.
Okay, so for all the years that we've been running this course, I can say we have had some sort of an impact. This 23,000 cap hours, which looks out 23,000 cap hours, that's just a number. That's about equivalent to 18 school years, that being 8 hours a day, roughly 8 hours a day, 180 days, I'm pretty sure, per year. And so that 23,000 hours times what an inexpensive $16 an hour for very entry-level IT person. Oh, that's only $368,000. So yeah, who here wouldn't want $368,000?
I'm just saying it's pretty great, yes.
We've also, back in 2019, the timing on this was perfect, let's say. Well, I mean, if you could call what happened perfect. We were able to kick COVID's butt because we rolled out the Chromebooks in time. It would have taken IT about 3 months from what they said to roll them out. We did it in a week. Got them all late. So we were ready the best we could be for COVID.
Before we even knew it was coming.
Yeah. So we didn't crash and burn as horribly as we could have. So back in September, Miss Jones, our kind of teacher, asked
Teachers who take care of
She asked people what they want from CSI. And so Narek wanted teachers, or us, to help teachers articulate their tickets. See, this, I'm not working. What we have here is a failure to communicate. So we will be able to help teachers articulate their tickets so that the IT gets what's going on, the teachers get the help they need, and it's just a win-win for everyone. Now the teachers want us to be able to put in the tickets. So they're not going to always have time to put in their tickets. So we can put in that ticket while they can keep teaching their lesson and doing what they're getting paid for. And so the admins wanted us to manage the hardware. So Chromebooks, we have a Chromebook help desk. Someone comes in with a broken Chromebook. If it's something small, we can fix it. Like we were taught to replace keyboards. But if it's something bigger, we can send it off to IT, give them another Chromebook to use for the time being, and then move on. Okay, so community service. Every year, our CSIs have to do 2 community services. Although past years, with COVID, it's been a little more difficult, but this year we've gone back into it. So that could be helping with fundraisers, just helping the community. It's in the name, community service. So Autumn actually is doing Liberty ASC. You could say a little bit about that.
Okay, so right now I am doing a fundraiser for Liberty ARC. We have done 2 things to raise money, and I've sold out both times. Just saying. It was pretty awesome if you ask me. I wasn't expecting, the first time was trunk or treat. We weren't even expecting to sell anything. And we got over $50. It was absolutely amazing. And this was my freshman year when we went to the ARCAL and we helped elderly with their technology.
Autumn, what is it you're selling?
Oh, yeah. I'm selling things that I'm making off the 3D printer. And I'm using the Cricut for shirts and mugs and other things like hats. And we can also do plates. But,
The Cricuts are how we made our shirts.
yes.
Yeah.
We are teachers. It turned green. And then sometimes it'll dry if it's feeling happy, and sometimes it'll just turn up because sometimes it won't. But that's okay. Yep. Moving right around in circles. Okay, if you can hear me, touch your nose. Can everybody hear me? Am I talking loud enough for you guys? Yes. Okay. So, do you see the blood was me teaching a 4th grade lesson, and everybody was somehow amazed on how I got everybody's attention. But we learn as our freshman year that speaking publicly is something that we have to do all throughout our lives. And we get to help students and we get to help teachers as best as we can. Maybe it's just taking the kids off their chest a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So we have a lot of fun with this, and
So, when I first started CSI, beginning of this year, I didn't know how to teach or how to give kids help for what they need to. I was usually getting it for myself from other teachers. But when I did this first time here, I thought it was going to be a really hard thing to do. I was not really ready. I was confused on how to do it. But when I did it, it got easier, and I found out that when I give help to kids, it's better than getting help for myself and not worrying about other people needing it.
I think that's that a little sicker.
In that video, I was helping a kid code in Ozobot. He wanted help, and I said, yeah, so I gave him some help. He actually got pretty good at listening when I helped him. I thought I was going to have a hard time.
oh, and by the way, every single one of the kids there learned how to code an Ozobot, and I had a girl come through the McDonald's line and say that I'm the one who makes her want to go to school.
Oh, that's
So earlier in this presentation, I was mentioning our portfolios, and I'm sure you were wondering what they are. So this is my personal homepage. I just designed it to look like this. But on our portfolios, we have a page for everything throughout the year. So we have our help desk certification, our customer service, our community service, and basically on each of these pages, we put a collection of like those things, like the lessons we've taught, or our help desk certification, or customer service throughout each year in the CSI pathway. So like if you teach a lesson, when we teach our lessons, we write up the whole lesson reports by ourselves and plan out the whole thing. So we would put copies of that on our lesson slide.
Okay, well, I guess this is the both of us thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, we did Technology Awareness Day. We went, we presented. That was me, Sam, and Toby and AJ. So we went and presented. That's actually AJ right there and Toby right there. I'm kind of in the background. So we went, we presented, we talked about our course and how other schools can actually make a course that's very similar to ours, pretty much copy us. Kind of letting them copy off our thing. But we've actually gotten people that have written us emails about how they want to know more about what we're doing here and how they can better implement it in their own schools. And so that was really fun being able to do that and give hope that other schools will have this great program as well.
Have those emails been from other students or teachers or?
Or teachers, yeah, and administrators. We were presenting primarily to administrators and teachers at this Tech Awareness Day, so.
And
That's
I
it.
found the course was very similar interests. It was great, had a great teacher, everything. It was just a fantastic experience. I learned how to use a ton of stuff, a good deal of what he was mentioning.
Yeah, that's some of our fan mail. Okay, so hopefully this May, or when the band concerts are, if we have them, fingers crossed that we will. So, actually there's a video which is muted, so we'll just let that play in the background. But pretty much we have a captive audience when the bands are doing their concerts. Before then, it's not really much that they can do, just kind of wander around. So we have our maker fairs. So we bring down cool stuff, what students have been working on. And so we've actually seen here some of the things that people have been working on. That was 2019, last time we had one, you know.
Was 2019?
18, I think.
Actually, I think it was 19. Yeah, I remember being at the last one. And that was a long time ago. I'm pretty sure we all know why we couldn't have that. But yeah, I just really invite you to, if we have one, again, fingers crossed, this year, to just come down here. If you go into band concerts, you might as well drop by the Maker Fair. We've always got cool stuff. Well, not recently, but you know. So yeah, any questions?
Any questions? Go ahead.
How do you help teachers, help teachers on a daily basis with their problems with their technology?
Yeah, for the most part, like if someone has a problem with technology, we'll help them. Yeah, and say I've had in one of my classes, someone's having a problem with their computer, like there's a black splotch on it, on the screen, and so you can go in there and help them out, like open application, just close it. Small problems like that. There's some other bigger problems, like stuttering in a video. Sometimes fix that, sometimes it's a little harder. And we've been, in the library, the whole getting ready for the whole new renovations, we've been doing a lot on that. Which is,
David loves Mylar in books.
no, not a chance. But yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
got
so,
it?
anything else?
Well, I have two questions. So one is, what has been the effect of this internship for you as students at Canajoharie? And also, what effect, if any, has it had on your perspectives about life going forward after Canajoharie?
So the impact that it has on everyone, all of us kids that are here, we usually have had problems in the past with making friends or, you know, getting together and talking to people openly. Well, it kind of brought us together into being an actual like family, I would say. Miss Jones is like literally like my best friend, and everybody here I've talked to about so many different things. I've made a lot of friends and family during this. People who have already graduated are now like my best friends, and it'll help me in the future, and it'll help all of us in the future with jobs, because I'm pretty sure all of us here, some of us here want a technology type job. So that'll really help us with our, you know, certification and all of that.
And even if we don't want a technology job, having that our portfolio, that's a collection of what we did all through CSI throughout our 4 years of high school, could help us show our job provider what we did throughout high school, and our weekly work logs could, in the future, help us to be better organized.
Yeah, we've also, most of us, by the time like we're senior years, we've learned to use most of, if not all of the technology that we have available. Like a lot of us know how to use a Cricut, at least basic skills with like the Cricut 3D printer, and just basic tech literacy. So we're able to go out into that new age of tech and do a little bit better than everyone else.
Anything that has Google in front of it, we pretty much know how to use.
Yeah.
I have to say though, you would make a very good teacher, because I observed the lesson that you did in the elementary, and she was like, the things that she did was like a born teacher with the students. So she did a fantastic job.
I echo the same thing. I was down there for one of the lessons. It was a great job. All of you do.
Yeah.
It looked like you were up there for years. You guys are having a great time with it. You're helping. It's fantastic. It really.
We really, really do love it.
Yeah,
It's
you're
one of
brought
our
a lot
favorite
of
classes.
a lot of resources to us too, so we appreciate it, without a doubt. And Mrs. There she is. And her.
She was right at
She looks like a student.
Anything else, guys?
No?
Okay, well, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you for this presentation.
Yeah.
And I also want to thank you for the incredible contribution you're making to life in the high school. So thank you very much, and good luck in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All set?
Okay, well, the next point on the agenda is a presentation on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Take it away, Nick.
So just a quick update in our DEI program, and before we start any presentation, we always kind of want to talk about our vision, our mission, and our values again. We try to put this everywhere. It's on our website, and it's part of the three boxes that we have underneath our Canajoharie logo. Now, what was the purpose of the DEI piece? To ensure that we explore issues relating to diversity, equity, and inclusion, welcoming and affirming environment we want to create, inclusive curriculum and assessment, ongoing professional development and support, promote equitable opportunities that help students thrive, and develop students' abilities to connect across lines of difference, and empower students as agents of social change, and create a vehicle for community outreach. So I think that's the start when we looked at this, and New York State Education Department initiative helped us kind of design what fit our district and what fit what our needs were. So we kind of created a little bit of a purpose to that. That's always morphing and it's always changing as we go through. Our preliminary implementation to our DEI program was September, October, kind of finalized some PD, put out a survey to our faculty, and put together a November conference day to talk about the results. November, we did the superintendent conference day and survey with the faculty and staff. In December, we did a student survey, sent a letter home to the high school students' parents and guardians. And we were looking at possibly doing the backwards brains bicycle video and hidden brain as well. We didn't get that far, but we definitely did the student survey and the letter home. December and January was to gather all the survey results and begin to plan for our next PD and training, which we're in now. January, February, send a letter out to the parent and the community, a letter outlining maybe sources that we might use. And then February, March, continue student rollout and finalize PD, training for our March professional development day. And then April, May, we're planning for the next, for year 2, and the summer curriculum writing, and kind of a curriculum audit. So first thing we did was results from a faculty survey, and we just asked some basic questions, and our really focus is connection, giving opportunities to our students to make sure that from every background, cultural background, demographic, whether rich, whether poor, whether black, whether white, whether disabilities or not, we wanted to make sure that we're trying to do the best we can to give everyone the best chances and opportunities they can. And we just want to start with connection first. So we asked some basic questions. Our policy, DP 3420, is, how has our commitment in the district been in terms of ensuring that students are treated equally? Again, different background, cultural, anything. So for the most part, it said 13.8% said we're extremely committed, and 59.8% said quite committed. So for the most part, the faculty and staff felt that 73% of the results were either quite or extremely committed, which is great. And I think we're looking for anything over 70% when it comes to that. The next piece is how comfortable are you talking with students with different cultures and backgrounds? And that was a great result too. Felt very comfortable with that, and I think what you'll see with the student results matches that, which is great to see on both sides. Next was, do you feel comfortable connecting to other adults? That was kind of low, so we kind of looked at that, and obviously we're in a different situation right now with COVID, and the connection there isn't as robust as it could be or once would be, because people are kind of isolating themselves because of the situation. So we're looking in that area because we want to have that connection. There's a lot of new teachers coming in, new staff coming in, and there's great veterans here, so we want to kind of forge that connection to make sure that we have our great history, our culture, and what we do here to make sure that transposes over to our new staff as well. Next was comfortable incorporating new material with different backgrounds and different cultural impacts, and that was pretty good as well. That was a great result. They felt very comfortable, the faculty. Next was the comfort of discussing race, gender, demographic, background issues with students, and not as high as up here, but still pretty comfortable and in a good direction there as well. And then next area was how comfortable we feel when a sensitive issue of diversity arises in our class. Do we have strategies to engage the situation? That was kind of a little lower than the other ones. So, idea behind getting data like this is to now focus on these two areas here. And what we plan on doing for the professional day in March is to have roundtable discussions with our faculty and staff and collect ideas. First, what we could do to help this, and second, what they think we should do to help this. So let's be a collaborative, group together to kind of build this. So what are some takeaways from the survey for the most part for the faculty? Work on developing a plan to connect, like we just said, faculty and staff and strategies to help when something else does come up in class. Let's work together on that. What can we do to support students? PD for faculty and staff to help with these situations. And this is the feedback we got back from the faculty when they filled out the survey. Celebrate and learn about the different cultures, especially in like music, arts, bringing guest speakers, that type of thing, which we're doing next week, actually, one of them. Include a more robust cultural-based curriculum, so all sides are being talked about and portrayed. Build relationships with students, example STAR. Again, COVID didn't help that. We had a great STAR day this year, but it would be nice to have more, but we couldn't because of the situation. So we'll continue to expand upon that. And again, this is feedback from the faculty. Reach out to students for feedback and ideas, which we did with the survey and which we will do with a roundtable discussion with some students. And we did receive many definitions about diversity and equity inclusion. We asked all the faculty to define them. And they were kind of very similar, but a little different ways in terms of the same phrases and words. So we've kind of come up with a unified definition for our district. So for example, for us, diversity is about a representation of your uniqueness, culture, and lived experiences that make up our community. Very simple, but if you look at some key words there, everyone's unique. We have different cultures. Our lived experience, what makes up the entire community. And we want to make sure people understand everyone's backgrounds, right? And a STAR Day especially does something like that. Next is equity. Equal access to opportunities for all with the understanding that fair is not always equal and barriers are removed. So that's important. Fair is not always equal and barriers are removed. And then inclusion is the practices of valuing differences in order to foster a sense of belonging and empowerment. This young lady here talking about what the program did for her, right? That's exactly what we mean by that. So that's kind of our focus right there for our DEI.
I'm sorry,
Yep.
where did these definitions come from?
If you remember, we started putting those together with Mr. Ferguson, yourself, Sean Bradwell as well, Dr. Bradwell, and then we also took information from the faculty, students, and staff, and the words they put in as well. So we
this was kind of a
Yep.
commingled.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Survey results from students, which is, again, very interesting. Great comments, by the way, too. They gave some great enlightening comments and some things. So we asked, how do the students think that we're doing with the policy DP 3420? And you say 51.8%, but if you notice, somewhat committed was 33. So about 85% feel pretty comfortable that we're committed to making sure that students of different backgrounds are treated fairly and try to do the best we can for every different culture. How fair do students treat others from different cultures and backgrounds? This was interesting. Only 48%. And again, this is the students. So they're seeing it through a different lens. How connected are they to adults? That was low as well, which was interesting, right? So some of the comments were just more about they didn't feel trust in terms of going to somebody, but that's where that STAR Day stuff and those other things helps build that. And I'm sure we're definitely going to look to do more of that. How fair do adults treat others? And that was pretty big, as I said earlier, which kind of went back to our other question in terms of how the students think that how the faculty feel like they connect with students. So that was a big combination. That was good to see both ways. Do you feel belonging to your school? Kind of low in this area, but if you notice, somewhat was again 29.6%. So how do they feel belong to their school? Some of the comments were interesting. I think COVID definitely pulled some people away in terms of how comfortable they did feel here because they felt disconnected. There was a lot of those comments. How often do students from different cultures and backgrounds hang out together? Mixed there as well. And then down the bottom, interacting with students from different cultures and backgrounds was quite high, for the most part. So what are areas that we're looking at? How do we connect better with adults? And how fair does other students treat others from different cultures and backgrounds? So what our plan is to do is our professional, I'll give some takeaways here, then I'll go into that piece, sorry. So here's takeaways from the survey. Working on developing a plan, the two areas that we talked about. And that is to do, they wanted more STAR, guest speakers, talking to faculty and staff to share ideas. And what else can we do to support students? Let them be who they are and support it. That's one big comment that came out a lot from the students. They put that down in the survey. They said we're doing a great job. It's not as bad as people think. That was quite a bit of comments too. Kids, straight fact, the kids put right down. We're doing a great job. Stop focusing on it. It was quite a lot of that. So it was nice to see that. Create relationships with students. Get to know them better. And again, I think where some of those STAR programs and stuff come together. Again, they said create more days like STAR. And they said don't tolerate how some students are treated. Educate people and have consequences for that. We see many definitions again from equity, and again, we just drew these three parallels in terms of our three definitions. So kind of what's next on this? We want to continue our rollout in February with a letter to the parents and what we got in terms of information back. We want to finalize the work with Dr. Bradwell, who's kind of working with us for our March 21st conference day. And the idea behind that is to have roundtable discussions, again, with the faculty and staff to gather some ideas and to focus on that connection with the adults and with each other, but also the students connecting with the adults. We come up with ideas to help prosper with that and help move that to another direction. And the other piece is we want to meet with the students. We want to kind of have a round table, grab about 5 or 6 kids from each grade level, and have a couple-hour meeting with them to talk about some of the ideas they might have to improve those areas as well. And then we're going to work with Dr. Bradwell and Social Studies in the LA for curriculum review, most likely Social Studies this summer, to do a little bit of a curriculum review, to make sure we're hitting kind of a curriculum audit. Maybe we're already there, which is perfectly fine, but make sure that we're hitting all areas. And then gather information from the conference day and students to plan for year 2. So the information we get back from the conference day and the students, we can help plan days for next year in our conference day. So I think we're moving in a great direction, and it's moving forward. I think there's only 1 or 2 couple missing parts there that we had from the beginning that we planned, but that morphs. And I feel like talking to Dr. Bradwell the other day, Nick, I'm working with a lot of districts. You guys are very far ahead of other areas in terms of how we're diving into this and putting out surveys and getting feedback back. So I feel comfortable where we are and how we molded this, to what we needed. We want to make sure kids from every different background are understood and feel comfortable here, as opposed to what you do read about what DEI might think, some people might think it is. That's not for us here. It's a focus on making sure that there's a good cultural awareness here and to make sure that kids and faculty and staff are being treated equally. So, any questions? Yes.
So how many faculty and staff took the survey?
There was 196.
Was it all high school or was it middle school?
It was all throughout the whole.
And was it just teachers or was it a mix of staff?
It was just the teachers and some staff took it because the staff didn't have to be here for the PD day.
Okay, so it was.
So most of the teachers.
It was elementary, middle school, high school.
Correct.
Okay. And what about the survey for the students?
Just over 100 students took it, and it was more high school based to get a good starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? I have one, that Henrietta survey of the community. Are we still thinking to try to pull that together or no?
Yeah, we're going to sit with Dr. Bradwell and think what we can do next in terms of rolling that out. I don't know if we're quite there yet, but I think a letter out to the parents about the survey results and what we're planning to do next. probably the next step.
Just to let everybody know, what this is, the Henrietta School District in Western New York put an online survey out on the same kinds of questions. And it was a voluntary thing, obviously, but they found it was a very productive and very helpful in terms of both communicating to the community, but also getting some feedback from the community about their feelings about this type of effort. So it's something I think that it would be a great thing for us to figure out a way to do as well.
Yeah, I think as we progress, I think everything is, well, the answer here too, there's a lot this year, right? It's still a lot with COVID going on and different things we can and can't do and the pressures from kids and home and here. And so I think that balance of how much we do, even with the faculty and staff, we want to make sure, you know, we're moving the needle, but we're not going too fast, too far, I guess is the best way to put it. So, good overall, comfortable, and it's nice to speak to Dr. Bradwell, who's speaking with the other districts, and he's very impressed with what we're doing. So, good feedback. So, good?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next thing we have on the agenda is personnel, and I would like to ask for a consent agenda on personnel, if people are agreed. A motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll go down through them.
I'm gonna die in a minute.
For any questions that people might have? So we have a appoint building maintenance worker. Good? Okay, long-term sub in science?
I'm telling you, I worked with him, or went to Cornell with him in '95.
Did you really?
Yes. I couldn't believe this is like the best person you could possibly get for this position.
That was let me give this a shot.
I can't believe you got him.
Okay, so we can all play the lottery tonight.
Makes
is
it
that
feel,
correct?
yes, yes.
Okay. Approve long-term leave, any questions there?
What happened to special ed? What was that one? Oh, that's up there, okay. Special ed.
You good?
Yep.
Okay. Appoint a long-term sub, special ed?
We just had one question, what are we paying her? Because the other one said how much we were paying her? Paying them?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, it'll be the long-term sub rate. Where it's the daily sub rate for the first, and then they go back and
If they make 40 days.
the contract rate.
Okay, so my question is, how come we're doing that with her but not with the others? You know, like Todd Jones and George Seymour? We're not doing that, right? You have daily rate.
No, that was a negotiation thing due to their history and background and what we needed.
Okay, she doesn't really have a background, or?
Not to that
Not to
extent.
that level.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions on that? Okay, and the long-term sub, special ed?
I think that was.
That was-
that,
yeah,
I'm
yep.
sorry. And long-term leave? F? Good?
No questions?
Okay, and then the sub-aid?
Yep.
Okay,
Believe it or not, these are all the positions I can't believe from bus drivers to maintenance to faculty, staff. We filled, pretty much everything with our injuries and everything else, so we're very lucky at this point.
okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the personnel appointments
Motion.
and motions. Second, Heidi, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you all. We're gonna be going into executive session.